Hey y'all, it's Thomasina. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, thanks for tuning in. My name is Thomasina and I am a model, content creator, among other things, based in New York City, but today I am filming from the floor of my childhood bedroom. And on my channel, I bring you all the tips and tricks on how you can break into the modeling industry if that's something you want to do as a career, or how you can move to New York City if that's a place you want to live. And I also showcase my daily lifestyle as a model through weekly vlogs. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, definitely hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a new video. So if you're at least somewhat familiar with the modeling industry, you know September and February are prime time in New York City. All of the models from all over the world flock to the Big Apple, the city of dreams, the city that never sleeps, for a week of fashion. Now we call it New York Fashion Week, but all the professionals in the fashion industry know that it's really like a month-long process. But despite how chaotic it can be, a lot of you still want to know, how can I attend New York Fashion Week? How can I walk in a show? How can I just attend a show? How can I get into the after parties? How do I get my foot in the door? I'm gonna tell you. So if your goal is to actually be a model in New York Fashion Week, whether you're walking the runway or just doing showroom, the first way that you can participate in New York Fashion Week as a model is just getting that contract, getting signed with a reputable agency. If you don't know how to go about getting an agency in New York City, go watch my other videos. I literally take you step by step on how to build your portfolio so that agencies are actually interested in you, and how to get signed to an agency. If you are signed with an agency, at least in New York, every New York Fashion Week, your agency will put together New York Fashion Week packages, which just includes the comp cards of every model who fits the criteria of New York Fashion Week, meaning you're a certain height, you're certain measurements, you have an amazing look, or if you just want to participate in New York Fashion Week, they put all those comp cards together and send them out to designers and casting directors and show producers, and then those designers can pick and choose who they want to cast for the show or who they want to see in person to attend an in-person casting. That way you have direct access to these bigger castings. I will tell you right now, when you are a represented model, meaning you have an agency contract, you are signed, you get access to the bigger name casting. And by larger castings, I mean the New York Fashion Week shows that are actually probably going to pay you. It's not going to be much, but they're more likely to pay you. Bigger brands and bigger designers. That's what I mean by larger shows. If you are an unsigned model, meaning you are freelance, you do not have an agency, you are working for yourself and doing everything on your own, and you still want to participate in New York Fashion Week, I'm going to tell you another way you can participate in New York Fashion Week. Instagram and social media are going to be your best friend when it comes to finding castings and gaining access to these parties and events in New York Fashion Week. Everything. What you want to do is follow all of the casting pages that are based in New York City. So you can use hashtags like NYC castings, NYC model castings, New York Fashion Week castings, New York Fashion Week casting director, New York City casting director. Just plug in as many hashtags as you can think of that are related to castings, modeling, New York Fashion Week, New York in general, photographers, makeup artists. Plug in all of those hashtags on Instagram and begin to follow all of the accounts that are related to the castings for New York Fashion Week. These pages, these Instagram pages, these people, these casting directors are going to be posting castings that are accessible to the public if you fit the criteria. So they're going to say, hey, we are casting models, female models that are 5'9" and up, with long jet black hair, with a 33 bust, a 25 waist, and a 34 hip. If you fit those measurements, maybe slightly off, I'd still apply. Like if they're asking for a 5'9" girl and you're 5'7", I would still attend the casting, just wear your highest heels. They're going to be posting on these pages, and it's great if you turn on the post notifications for these pages so that you're notified every time they post a casting and you can jump right on it, because again, models are coming in from all over the world to attend New York Fashion Week. So the competition, this is the most competitive facet of the modeling industry because there are just so many. It's like a melting pot of models. If you've ever been in New York during February or September when New York Fashion Week is happening, models galore. Models galore. It's models everywhere, and you can always tell when someone is a model because they're usually in their all black casting outfit, and they usually have their iPad or portfolio with them, or like a comp card. Like, you can always tell. Once you followed all those accounts on Instagram and now you're getting access to the castings that are posted to the public, you want to make sure they're usually going to ask models to submit via email with specific criteria. They're probably going to ask you like your measurements, where you live, your contact information, and things like that. So they're going to ask you to submit via email, or they're going to ask you to send them a DM on Instagram. Castings are always going to ask for photos and likely a walking video, because it makes no sense for them to have all these people showing up to a casting if they don't like the way they look and if they don't like the way they walk. So to avoid just having a whole bunch of random people show up to a casting, oftentimes they will ask you to send in your photos and send in a walking video, and that way they'll know they'll like you enough to maybe bring you to an in-person casting, or they may just book you directly if you're lucky. You're following the Instagram accounts, you're getting access to these castings now. You've turned on the notifications so they come to your phone and you know every time someone's asking for models for New York Fashion Week. Now you need to make sure you have all of your documentation and your photos ready to go when it's time to submit. So that means you need to take your digitals. If you are curious about how to take digitals, just go back to my model lifestyle playlist. I have a ton of videos telling you how to do these things. So you want to take your digitals and you want to take a model walking video. Now, a little side note for the walking videos, let's say an Instagram casting page post a casting for Prada. This is not likely to happen because Prada is very exclusive and agency represented models usually get access to the Prada castings. But let's just say, because that's a name that everyone knows, Prada is looking for models. They ask you to submit your digitals and your walking video. Every model has a different walk based on the designer that they're walking for. You, as an aspiring model, the smart thing to do would be to go to YouTube and look up previous Prada shows and watch how those models walk. So you know, does Prada like a really fierce runway walk where the hips are swaying like it's giving Naomi Campbell, or does Prada like the straight robotic kind of walk, and then replicate that in your walking video, and then you submit your materials. Make sure you have your digitals ready to go, and make sure you have your walking video ready to go. You should have those things ready to go before New York Fashion Week even rolls around, so that then when you're getting all these castings, you're not scrambling and being one of the last girls to submit, because it's always best to submit as soon as possible. It's the earlier the better. As I say, my agent always tells me the early bird gets the worm. Whether you are a signed model or a freelance model, another way that you can participate in New York Fashion Week as a model is going directly to the source. New York Fashion Week, the shows, has a full calendar of all of the designers and brands that are presenting their lines during New York Fashion Week. Every season, you can find it on New York Fashion Week, the shows, look at the calendar, and look at all the designers. If you see a designer that you really want to walk for, shoot them a message on Instagram. Slide in their DMs, you guys. It is 2023. Sliding in the DMs is so common. You'll be surprised at how many people will actually respond to you. So don't be afraid to have your digitals ready, have your walking video ready, and if you see a designer on the calendar that you really want to walk for, slide in their DMs. When sliding in their DMs, do not send them this long, drawn-out message about how you've always dreamed of being a model and you're a small-town girl from Alabama. They don't need to know your whole life story. New York Fashion Week is already chaotic enough. It's already busy enough. And if they even have time to read your Instagram message, you want to get straight to the point. Now, the fourth way to participate in New York Fashion Week is more so for the viewers, the outsiders, the people that don't really want to be on the runway, but they want to watch. They want to be sitting next to the runway. So if you just want to attend a New York Fashion Week show, you can reach out to the PR team of these brands and designers. So this stuff definitely requires a little bit more work and a little bit more research. Take a look at the New York Fashion Week show calendar, look at all of the designers that are presenting, and you just want to take to Google and literally say, for instance, Coach is presenting their show on Monday. Go to Google, Coach PR, Coach Public Relations. By doing that and doing just a little bit of scrolling, you should be able to find who Coach works with for their PR. You want to find a direct email contact and reach out to them. Now, when you're reaching out to them, you'll just say, hi, my name is such and such. I'm involved in such and such, and I'm requesting to RSVPs for the show. This is where it gets a little complicated, because if you have like no relation to the industry at all, like you might have to finesse a little bit. This method is much easier for someone who has a massive social media following, someone who is involved in the fashion industry in some facet, whether you have a fashion blog, whether you have a fashion centered social media page or YouTube channel, whether you are a photographer or you're a designer yourself. If you have some connection to the industry, or if you have a lot of viewers on your content, meaning you have a high follower count, you're more likely to get a response from PR agencies and PR contacts. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is going to be very difficult for you to get a response from a PR team if you have literally no connection or no contribution to the fashion industry at all. But if you're watching this video and you have a massive following, or you have some kind of other connection to the fashion industry and you just don't know how to attend New York Fashion Week shows, definitely try to find the public relations contact for the brand and just reach out to them. Now, when you're reaching out to them, again, you want to keep it short and sweet. Just let them know who you are, what you do. If you have some way that you can contribute to the brand, definitely throw that in there. Within that email, you also want to include like your media deck or your media kit, which basically is just a quick, it's kind of like a content creator's resume. It just has your picture on it. It tells them again who you are, what you do. If you have a massive social media following, it'll have all your stats on there, your YouTube subscribers, your TikTok followers, your Instagram followers, and it will kind of briefly detail what your connection is to the fashion industry. So you send all that in an email to the PR team and just hope and pray for a response. I would start doing that maybe like a month or two before February or before September, a month or two before Fashion Week starts. If you send the initial email maybe 2 months in advance, more than likely they're not going to know what their head count for the show is yet, so you're going to have to follow up when it comes closer to the show. But if you email them 2 months in advance, at least you'll be on their radar. And lastly, the fifth way that you can participate in New York Fashion Week as just an attendee, a viewer, someone who's in the hustle and bustle, is networking. Especially if you live in New York. You never know who you're talking to, and you never know who that person knows and who they're connected to. So just network with people. And if you don't live in New York, network on social media. It is something that you definitely have to use to your advantage. Don't just be scrolling aimlessly on Instagram and TikTok with no care in the world, with no responsibility, with no goal in mind. There are a ton of free New York Fashion Week events that are accessible to the public. You just have to know about them, and the way to know about them is utilizing social media and talking to people. So with that being said, those are my 5 proven methods that you can participate in New York Fashion Week, whether you want to actually be a model on the runway or whether you just want to be an attendee. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have other questions about New York Fashion Week, the process, the castings, or really anything else modeling related, feel free to drop them in the comments below or slide in my DMs on Instagram. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye! 'Cause I'm not just a pretty girl.